those on the right, the left, and everywhere in between.
Quiet. Shut up and let me answer, okay?
Answer.
Pot him down, please, because this is another MAGA who doesn't understand how to have a conversation with somebody.
It's Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro.
I'm kind of a big deal.
This show will make you laugh, make you cry, and it might raise Brian's blood pressure.
You know what, dude? You know what, dude? People like you, all you do is make excuses for the orange turd, and I've had it.
All the smash and grabs and everything. Yeah, tell me, what race is doing that, first of all?
Okay, so you want to be a racist now? Okay.
What race is doing it? Seen it on the news?
I don't watch Klan TV like you do, sir.
Buckle up, because it's Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro.
You're different. I like you.
Now, here's Brian.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. We made it to Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Pushing the Limits, the fastest growing show, not just in Vegas, but across the country. And we appreciate you being a part of the show. You could be watching on the Occupy Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network, the FM AM dial here in Las Vegas, KSHP. Of course, we're on YouTube at PTL Radio Show. PushingTheLimits.live. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little tired today. I did a couple shows this morning, one of which was Don Lemon, and I had to be live ready to go at 7 a.m. So that's early for me, man, but I'm still here. I'm still here, ready to go. I could use a nap. A little tired, but I'm here. And the reason why I did his show and a couple other shows was the event that I covered yesterday, which was the Kamala Harris Univision Town Hall, which I was invited to go to, and it was fun. It was a good time. But we're going to talk about how I was assaulted by some Trump supporters at the rally yesterday. And the really sad part about it is I can't even play you the audio of it because there are so many swears and so many things that you cannot say on the air. If you want to look at the videos, I posted them to my social media accounts on YouTube and X at PTL Radio Show. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the conspiracy theories saying Kamala Harris was using a teleprompter, which she was not. Barack Obama, wow, what a, I don't even know the word to use, but what an awesome speech yesterday, going after Donald Trump and speaking obviosities, for lack of a better term. We'll talk a little bit about that. And once again, J.D. Vance is asked again, who won the 2020 election, who lost? And he refuses to answer the question. It is mesmerizing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We've got Nicole Mitchell, who's going to be joining us in hour number 2. Plenty to get to and plenty to talk about. So first off, let me start by talking to all of you about the Kamala Harris Univision event that I went to as a credentialed member of the media yesterday. So I went to this event yesterday, and by the way, thank you to Nick Bonsanto, who did a phenomenal job filling in for me yesterday. I told you guys would love Nick. He's great. And of course, Ileana, who joined him in hour 2. They both did a great job, so thank you to both of them. I went to the Kamala Harris Univision event yesterday as a member of the media because it's something I wanted to cover. If Donald Trump had a Univision event here in Vegas, I would have done the exact same thing. I wanted to go there, cover the event, and talk to people. So I show up, and I notice there's a maybe around, I'm guessing around 100 people that are Kamala Harris supporters that were waiting for her motorcade to show up at the UNLV campus. And they had signs, a lot of Kamala Harris shirts and joy. And I had a chance to catch up with Congressman Stephen Horsford, who's a great guy. I spoke with him. I spoke with the supporters, all very nice people. And then I noticed right across the street, there were only a few Trump supporters. And this was before the event. Maybe 4 or 5, not many. So there's 2 women across the street, and they're all decked out in all their Trump gear, the hat, the shirt, the signs. And I go over to them, and it starts as a civil conversation, right? I'm asking them questions. I'm only pushing back at people, and some would say rude if people are rude to me, because I don't put up with that. I don't want to put up with that. So I asked these 2 ladies, who won the 2020 election? They say Trump won. I asked them about 34-count felon. They say that didn't happen. They didn't even say he was not guilty. They said it didn't happen. He wasn't even in court. They call Kamala Harris a communist. I mean, I asked like 5 or 6 questions, and they were so dopey. And then one of the ladies says, "Get out of here," something along those lines. And I said, no, I have freedom of speech to be on this sidewalk, just like you do. They continued to tell me to leave. They even pointed to a police officer telling me to leave, and then I did leave. but I called them deplorables because that's what they are. And then I used their same language that they use in talking to people that they disagree with. I called them pedophiles. I said they were in the basement and they had Alzheimer's. And the reason why I said that stuff is not because I believe it, because I gave them the same language back, because I do believe some of these people deserve it. So I have that all on videotape. It's on my YouTube and X page. And then I saw a gentleman a couple minutes later, and he had a Trump shirt, Trump everything, and then he had a Trump sign. And I asked him about the sign respectfully. I said, why do you support Trump, but you're saying we got to worry about crime with Kamala Harris? She's a former prosecutor, and you support a 34-count felon. His only excuse was, well, it was a kangaroo court. Now, I will say this. There was one Kamala Harris supporter that was there. This man had a disability. He was in some sort of wheelchair / scooter. I'm not sure what you would call that, but he had some sort of disability, right? And I was respectful to him, by the way, because he was respectful to me. He didn't tell me to leave or anything. And a woman mocked him for being in a wheelchair, and I told her to knock it off. I have this on video, and I defended him because that's wrong. It doesn't matter whether you're on the right or the left. You shouldn't be attacking someone because they have a handicap. That's wrong. So then her motorcade shows up, and I thought she did a great job. I thought she answered all the questions thoroughly. And you know she did a great job because, again, just like on that presidential debate stage, when they said that she was wearing earpieces, do you remember that? She was wearing earrings as earpieces, and that's a compliment. That means she did a really good job, and she did such a good job, they thought they were feeding her information. That was obviously untrue. And a number of Republicans and right-wing influencers took to social media, and they said that she was using a teleprompter at this town hall. Even Fox News' very own moron, Sean Hannity, reposted a clip of this town hall. This tweet has since been deleted. And he wrote, Kamala uses teleprompter for unscripted town hall. Now, obviously, he won't apologize. Obviously, he won't say he was wrong. He just deletes it. And it received over 100,000 likes. Benny Johnson is another one, a popular far-right influencer who received funding from the Kremlin, who also reposted a clip on X with that same claim, saying Univision accidentally broadcast proof that Kamala used a teleprompter. He didn't take down this tweet. It's still up as far as I know. And the claim was debunked by the moderator. The moderator of the town hall, who had to go to post on social media that says any claim to the contrary is simply untrue. Yes, because it didn't happen. Daniel Coronel is the former president of Univision. He also said it's not true. It's a lie. That's what they do. They lie about the elections. They lie about hurricane relief. They lie about eating your cats and dogs. And they lie about teleprompters. This is what they do on the far right. It's all a bunch of lies. A bunch of nonsense. She did a great job. Hands down. So then after the event, I went into the media room, and then I walk outside, and I see there's a large contingent, and I'm guessing maybe 30 to 40, somewhere around there, of Trump supporters. I would say agitators, even though they claim I'm an agitator. I'll get to that. So I'm with a friend of mine, and I show up there, and before I interview anybody, before I talk to anybody, they see my media badge. They start calling me fake news. And I think it was one lady, this happened very fast, one lady who said, who are you supporting? Who are you voting for? And I said, Kamala Harris. And she spit on me. Now, it didn't hit me in the face, hit me right here. And then immediately after that, I told my friend, record. The organizer of this group, she was actually very nice. Now, I don't know if these people were getting paid, but it was certainly a group. She was very nice. She shook my hand. She gave me her number. And as she's talking to me, I put up several videos. One video of a man with a Trump flag. And for those of you who say I'm making this up, you can go on my social medias. I posted this video. A man with a Trump flag who assaulted me. He gets right in my face and he calls me a commie. By the way, without asking me one question, doesn't know anything about me. All he knows is I'm a member of the media. And I said, commie. He turns around, he swings his flag, hits me in the face. There's video of this. Then he walks away. Then he comes back, takes the pole of his flag and starts poking at me and hits me in the face. The organizer of the event gets between the two of us and starts pushing him away. And a couple of the other organizers start saying, get away from him, get away from him. I posted this video. It's not made up. The assault is on YouTube. The assault is on X. I posted it. Don Lemon played it on his show today. Not making this up. I posted several other videos, including people that were calling me a pedophile. For the record, it's sad I even have to say this. Never been convicted of a crime, never been accused of any of that nonsense. But you see, that's the go-to from the far right. If they disagree with you, they call you a pedophile because they don't have brains. But they'll still support the man that goes into locker rooms of teenage girls and brags about sexual assault. But anyway, here's what's really sad about this whole thing, right? There was one gentleman, an African-American man, looked like he was a college student. I could be wrong. Maybe he was 25. And he was really an intelligent person and civil. And we had a really good conversation. We were talking about gun control. I listened to him. He listened to me. He made some good points. I made some good points. And we had a mutual respect for one another, even though we didn't agree with each other on everything. And right in the middle of that conversation, the Trumpers who are calling me names interrupt us. He gets angry at the other Trump supporters. They start arguing with each other. And unfortunately, I couldn't finish the conversation with this young man who, by the way, I respected. Intelligent guy. Because the deplorables, as I would call them, wouldn't allow us to have a conversation. Now, later on, I got his information and I said, hey, you should do my show sometime because I really would like this gentleman to come on. He was one of the few. There were a few others that were civil. The overwhelming majority of these people were not civil. I can't even play the video on the air because the audio is full of swears and things that I just don't want you to hear because we don't want to get fined here, right? It's on my YouTube page. It's on X. You can check it out for yourself at PTL Radio Show. I was interviewed by a national publication. I didn't post that yet. I'll probably maybe wait till Monday to post that. And I did say, wow, it had the feeling of January 6th. Now, listen, nobody was physically injured, okay, like January 6th. No one was killed. It wasn't anywhere near that level of violence. But the reason why I said that is because I saw some of these people, and I saw the cult-like behavior, and they appeared to me the same type of people that are cultists. They're cultists. They will do what Donald Trump tells them to do. That's what I meant by that. And I felt really bad for these people because they seemed very ill-informed, very ignorant. And they seemed to me like people, I would imagine they have families. And one woman comes up to me, and she wasn't as aggressive as the others, even though she was raising her voice. And we started to have a conversation about gun violence, and she actually agreed with some of the things I was saying. But I bring up gun violence, and then she says, what about car accidents? And I said to myself, how can I have a conversation with these people? How can I have a conversation with someone when I'm talking about gun violence and they bring up car accidents? One has nothing to do with the other. By the way, if you're going to drive a car, they check you for your eyesight. They check you and make sure that you're capable of driving a car correctly. You have to take a test. Most cases, when you buy a gun, you don't have to learn how to shoot the gun. You don't have to learn anything. She agreed with me on that, but she brings up car accidents. Then another lady, talking to her about the gun violence in this country, and she blames illegals for all of her problems. She's decked out in a Trump shirt, a Trump hat, all the Trump gear. She looks ridiculous. And I said, look at you. You are a cultist. By the way, this is also on video. And after I said, you look like a cultist, she says, why? Because I work out. Somehow she thought I was talking about her body, which obviously was the last thing I was talking about. I said, no, I'm not talking about your body. I'm talking about the stuff you're wearing. She was so dumb, she didn't even understand what I was saying when I called her a cultist. So this lasted about 15 to 20 minutes. Then I got interviewed, and then we left. I posted the stuff to social media. If you'd like to see the video, as I mentioned, it's on my YouTube page, at PTL Radio Show. You could subscribe there for free. And you can also check it out on my X page, Twitter, used to be called, as I posted some videos on there as well. I learned a couple things yesterday. I learned there are some people that are just so lost, you cannot speak sense to them. As I go on social media, and there are a few of them, not many, but some on the far right that are saying that I was paid to do that. That's not true. I went to this Univision event as a representative of Pushing the Limits, and I decided to go there because I'm the one who runs the show, and it was my choice. Nobody pays me to say things. Everything I do it because it's my choice. It was my choice to go there. It was my choice to attempt to interact with Donald Trump supporters. Nobody forced me to do so, and nobody paid me to do so. No organization paid me to do it. People are calling me a Democrat operative, which is laughable. You want to call me an operative of truth, I'll be okay with that. No entity paid me to go out there. That was all me, and I did it all myself, and I went there with a friend of mine who I'm very appreciative of, who took video. That's it. As far as the event goes, as I mentioned, Kamala Harris did a great job. You know who else did a really good job yesterday? Because I want to play you some of this audio. Barack Obama. Boy, did he have a killer of a speech yesterday. He was great. This is the point that I seem to make every day on this show to the MAGA cult, which is Barack Obama left Donald Trump the amazing economy. Barack Obama, probably a little bit more eloquent than I am, said it best here.
And then, don't boo. I'm going to break you of this habit. And the reason some people think, wow, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time. So just in case everybody has a hazy memory, he didn't do nothing except those big tax cuts.
That's true. The big tax cuts for the top 1%. Barack Obama left the economy in good standing. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. It's indisputable. George W. Bush left Obama a sack of crap, and Obama turned the economy around, and I think there was like something like 75 straight months of job growth. And look at what Donald Trump did to the economy. Now, this is an important part of the speech as well. There were a lot of great moments in this very eloquent speech from Barack Obama, but I talk about this all the time too. Donald Trump is the swindler. He sells the Bibles. He sells his gold sneakers. He sells $100,000 Trump gold watches, but yet talks about inflation and eggs are too much, but yet he has no problem selling $100,000 gold watches. Have a listen to what Barack Obama has said about that.
Constant attempts to sell you stuff. Who does that? Selling you gold sneakers and $100,000 watch and most recently a Trump Bible. He wants you to buy the Word of God, Donald Trump edition. Got his name right there next to Matthew and Luke. I mean, you could not make this stuff up. If you saw it on Saturday Night Live, you'd say, well, no, that's going too far. No, he's doing that.
100% right. He is doing that. He's selling pieces of his jacket when he was indicted. Remember the mugshot? He's selling those. He's selling his trading cards. He's selling Trump condoms. He's selling Bibles made in China for $3. He's selling Trump Bibles for $60. He's selling his gold watches. He's selling everything. Now, listen, I don't have a problem with selling some shirts, selling some hats, whatever, but this guy sells Bibles. It's lunacy, it's crazy, and it's a cult. To me, when people ask me every day, why do you see Trump and Vance such a danger to our democracy? Well, I'm going to play you some audio, and I'm going to give you an example of exactly what I am talking about. So this is J.D. Vance yesterday. He's doing another sit-down interview, and he's pressed on who won the 2020 election. And again, the coward refuses to answer the question. This is unbelievable audio because this is what we are up against. And when I mean we, I mean this entire country. We are up against a vice president who has vice presidential nominee who has an audience of one. He only cares and thinks about what Donald Trump cares about. He knows that if he goes on the air and he says that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, which obviously J.D. Vance knows happened, that orange man is going to get very upset. Listen to this exchange.
In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator,
Lulu,
yes or no?
okay.
Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censor
Won't answer.
the Hunter Biden laptop story? Which
Hunter Biden
independent
laptop. He won't
analysis said
answer.
it cost Donald Trump millions of votes.
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies
Won't
censor
answer.
a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator
I think that's the question.
Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020
And I've answered
election?
your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging.
No, it's
with
not a
what I'm
slogan.
saying,
It's a
which is
fact.
that
Make
when
America
our
great
big
again is a slogan.
technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes. I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete, a problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies—
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote, I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no.
The answer is no. J.D. Vance would not have certified the 2020 election. You see, when you don't execute your duty and your due diligence as the Vice President of the United States, you're not exercising a protest. Ladies and gentlemen, this is treason. Luckily, if there's one thing Mike Pence realized and understood, was this. That's why Mike Pence is not sitting in that chair, J.D. Vance is. And mark my words, if there is another insurrection, they'll be chanting, "Hang J.D. Vance." Now, I don't want that to happen. But J.D. Vance is a coward. He was asked the same question, and credit, by the way, to this person doing the interview for pressing him on it. She did a very good job. There's only so many times you can ask it. I'm going to answer your question with a question, he says. The question wasn't, were there problems? And by the way, it was the most free and fair election we've ever had, according to the FBI, the CIA, even Republican secretaries of state have said that. There's no evidence even close of widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of the free and fair election. In fact, if you want to look at who cheated, How about those fake electorate schemes? How about that? J.D. Vance is saying he would have allowed that. Make no mistake about it. That's what he's saying. J.D. Vance would have accepted fake electorates. If J.D. Vance becomes the vice president of the United States, just remember that. This is a man who will not answer, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election? And for you MAGA Republican idiots out there that say, why is the media obsessed with this? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you won't answer the question. If J.D. Vance answered the question way back, if he answered the question months back, Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, we wouldn't be asking him again. Or we would say, you've said that Donald Trump lost. Why does your boss keep saying that he won? Maybe. And that would be the end of it. The man won't answer whether the earth is flat or round. Why? Because he is speaking to an audience of one. That is why. And just like so many of the other MAGA Republicans that are in office today, they have no backbone. They know that Donald Trump has a stronghold on the Republican Party because they've allowed him to, and now it's too late to go back. So they refuse to answer the basic question. He's not the only one. There's plenty of more. Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy. Oh, my God, the list goes on with those talking heads in the Republican Party, even JFK Jr. They will not say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Now, there are some Republicans that are willing to say that. Not many. And if you're willing to say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, most likely they will ostracize you from the Republican Party. Is that the man that you want to be one heartbeat away from the president of the United States? Is that the guy? Is that the guy you want one Big Mac away from being the leader of the free world? Mr. Eyeliner himself, J.D. Vance? I think not. J.D. Vance is a liar. He has no backbone. And he can talk a good game, and he could be a good swindler of speeches. But the man twists himself into a pretzel because he refuses to answer the most basic of all questions when it comes to our democracy, which is, who won the 2020 election? Did Donald Trump lose? So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I am going to open up the phone lines because this is the most interactive show, not just in all of Las Vegas, but I would say across the country. 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you would like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. I want to tell you guys about my new website. We're very proud of it, pushingthelimits.live. And again, if you go to pushingthelimits.live, you can see links to all these videos from yesterday and YouTube, and you can sign up for my free newsletter. But I get emails from people every day. How do I get more involved in the show? Well, this is an independently owned radio show. What does that mean? We rely on people like you. So it'd mean the world to us, mean the world to me if you can check out the website, pushingthelimits.live. We sell merch on there, shirts, hats. I don't sell Bibles. Sorry to disappoint some of you MAGA supporters. I don't sell PTL condoms. Yeah, I know. Numchuck's really upset at that. And I don't sell PTL gold sneakers. I don't sell any of that stuff, unfortunately. But we do sell shirts, hats, and beanies. Normal stuff. If you don't want to buy merchandise, that's fine. You can also go to the front page again. And there's a donate button, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can afford every month. Man, we appreciate it. We really do. Here's that website again, pushingthelimits.live. That's pushingthelimits.live. The number to call in if you want to be a part of the program again, 702-221-7283. That's 702-221-7283. Your thoughts on my interactions with the Trump agitators, to put it kindly. Your thoughts on that, Kamala Harris's Univision performance, and anything else that we've discussed in the first segment. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to hear from you. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on
In these uncertain times, we need a leader who puts policy over politics.
I'm Ron Quince. I am beyond the bickering and what we see today. I am running to fight for your values, faith, family, and freedom.
Ron Quince stands for safe borders, lower taxes, and lower prices.
Let's take our country back, one community, one vote at a time. I am Ron Quince, and I'm asking for your vote because every vote matters. I am Ron Quince, and I approve this message.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYou101.com.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey culminates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com. And get started.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. Talking about my interesting, I guess you could call it, escapades with the Trump agitators after the Kamala Harris Univision event. I did Don Lemon's show earlier today. We were talking a little bit about it. He played some of those videos. And if you want to see them, you can go on my YouTube page or X, which is at PTL Radio Show. I want to remind you guys the official gaming bar of the Pushing the Limits radio show. Gosh, it's been my favorite gaming bar in Vegas for years. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Man, do they have some great promotions, including the Pass the Puck contest for Golden Knights games. Also, if you earn 350 points on Sunday between noon and 8 a.m., you're going to earn $50 in free slot play. Check them out. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. All right, I promised you I'd get right to the phone calls. I'm a man of my word. Let's start off with Romeo. Romeo is first up on the Pushing the Limits radio show. Hello, Romeo.
Hi, host. Thank you for having me, letting me join.
Sure.
First of all, I am a Trump supporter, and so I just want to hear the opposition. I always want to be fair and know that, you know, your opposition does have, you know, your ability. You can post and put your opinions out there.
Sure.
But what makes you think, just out of curiosity, what happened January 6th compared to all the BLM protests makes more of us violent than those white liberals that are out there that were burning, looting, murdering a city?
So first of all, I never said that. So I don't know where you're getting that from. I never compared the two. You're the one that's doing that, not me. When I talk about one entity,
I heard you saying that we were pretty violent. I've heard you multiple times.
So when you say we were pretty violent, would you say that on January 6th, those people that were arrested were pretty violent, or would you disagree with that?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. So let me ask you a question. The 140 officers that were beaten that day, some of them were. Hold on. Let me. Excuse me, Romeo.
Where did you get that from?
Okay, Romeo. First of all,
I'm asking you a question. Where did you get that
and I'm
from?
going to answer it. I'm going to answer it if you'll stop interrupting me. Okay, because that's very rude. I'm trying to be civil with you, and you keep interrupting me. And you ask me one question, you interrupt me. Let's go back to square one to start. First of all, where am I getting that from? There were 140 officers that went to the hospital. It's all documented. It was in court documents. There's videos of MAGA supporters that are beating officers with their own baton. There's videos of them getting sprayed with bear spray. There's videos of it. It's not my fault you haven't seen it and you're ill-informed, with all due respect. There were people that died that day. There was a woman that was trampled and died that day. Ashley Babbitt died that day. There was an officer named Brian Sitnick who died the next day. There were officers who committed suicide months after. Their families said they were never the same since that day. So don't you call into this show and tell me that those people weren't violent. That's like saying that the earth is flat, okay? That's number one. Number two, you people seem to compare Black Lives Matter protests to what happened on January 6th. I never condoned any violence, but you say white liberals. Let me tell you something. Some of those people that committed violent acts, some of them were right-wing agitators. How do we know that? Because we know that because it was in a courtroom. I don't condone violence in any way, shape, or form. And let me tell you that the big smart distinction, in my opinion, between Black Lives Matter and January 6th. You had hundreds of thousands of people on January 6th, probably 1,000 to 2,000 people that committed crimes. Why were they there that day? Because I would assume, like people like you, they believed the big lie that the 2020 election was stolen, and they tried to do anything and everything they could to overturn a free and fair election. Why were tens of millions of people protesting across the country for Black Lives Matter protests? For equality. Hold on, I'm not done yet. It's my show, not yours. You're not going to interrupt me again. I know you don't like facts, Romeo. I know you don't like facts. Tens of millions of people protested across the country for equality. There was a small percentage of people that did some very violent things, which I would never condone. But to compare the two, Black Lives Matter protest for people that wanted equality to hundreds of thousands of morons that were there because they think the election was stolen, there is no comparison, Romeo. Now I'll give you the opportunity. Go ahead.
Because you're insecure little nip.
Okay, you see? Another typical MAGA supporter that when I present them with facts, he calls me insecure, and that's all he's got. Well, let's be clear. Hey, MAGA buffoon, the guy who you're supporting, keep Romeo, I'm sure that's your real name right now, keep Romeo potted down for a moment, because I've just won the argument, because now he's gone to ad hominem insults. So, Romeo, the man who you support, wakes up in the morning, if you want to talk about insecurities, puts on 8 layers of orange makeup. The man who you support wears shoulder pads. The man who you support has never been seen in public with his shirt off. The man who you support has 4 hair transplants. The man who you support might be the most insecure human being on the planet. You say one negative thing about this guy, he goes crazy. So I want you to remember that before you take off your knee pads and before you go to sleep tonight. I want you to remember that you support the man who literally looks like a clown every day. There's nobody more insecure than him, okay? Now, you might be one of those insurrectionists. I don't know, sir, but I wish you luck. I hope you buy one of your Trump Bibles. Go ahead. Sir, have you bought a Trump Bible?
I'm not throwing Trump Bible. What the hell is a Trump Bible?
Okay, Mr. Trump Bible, have a nice day. I'm sick of you. Once you start with the ad hominem attacks, that's it. I'm done with you. I win, you lose. Checkmate. Have a nice day. Don't forget your Trump Bible before you go to sleep. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. Why don't we go to Debbie? I believe Debbie is next up on PTL. Hi, Debbie. What's going on?
Hey, Brian. It's Debbie from Missouri.
Hi, Debbie. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. Sorry to be behind that guy.
That's okay.
But I'm not a Trump supporter. Never have been.
And you know what? You know what's sad, though, Debbie? That's okay. I don't mind if Trump supporters call into the show. But the guy brings up January 6th, and he says that wasn't a violent day. I mean, that's what he said, right?
Right.
We have ears, right? That's what I said. He said it wasn't a violent day when people were killed that day. People were trampled. Officers were beaten with their own batons. And he starts off the conversation by saying it wasn't a violent day. And then when I give him the facts of actually what happened that day, he starts calling me names. These are the same kinds of people that
with their own flags.
Right.
People were hit with their own American flag.
Exactly. But you know, what can I do? How do you talk to these people?
Right.
I still haven't figured out how to talk to. Yeah, I haven't.
You can't. There's no getting through to these people. There's just nothing you can do or say anymore.
Right.
My point is, if Trump gets in, what I think Vance is going to do is throw in the amendment of 25 and get rid of him.
Yeah. Well,
and Trump will be gone because Vance wants presidency. He hates Trump.
As much as we despise Donald Trump, and by the way, I agree with you. J.D. Vance once called him the next American Adolf Hitler.
Right.
I mean, Trump would be horrible. Can you imagine what the country would look like if J.D. Vance was the commander-in-chief?
Well, yeah, but if Vance throws in the 25th Amendment and gets rid of him because he's not all together in his head, then Vance will step right into the presidency.
Well, I'll say this, Debbie. If J.D. Vance does become the president of the United States, there's going to be a lot of couches in the White House. I appreciate your call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Why don't we go to Mark? Mark is next up on PTL. What's going on, Mark?
Hi, Brian. It's been a while since we've talked. I watched those videos of you confronting the Trump supporters, to put it nicely, yesterday. And the one woman was claiming to have a law license, but from the way she dressed, I'm assuming she got her law license in Barbados or the Cayman Islands at best.
Trump University, maybe Trump University. I don't know. But you are right. What Mark is referring to, there's a video where a woman we're talking about education, and she's claiming maybe she got her law degree from where Haba got hers. I don't know, but you make a valid point there. Yeah, I don't buy it.
Yeah, so I was watching that, and the amazing thing is, and this is very typical with right-wingers that support Trump, is that they are making a point, but instead of responding to your point, they immediately change to what about. They go to the whataboutism, because that's when you know, actually, that you've won the debate. So you were talking to this woman about the shootings in schools and everything.
Right.
Which we know what to do about that. We know we need an assault weapons ban, for starters, when violence went down tremendously. But instead of actually admitting that we need to do something there, she went immediately to, what about the border? And
right.
It's like, that has nothing to do with the
Mark,
people.
you're so right. But Mark, this is what they do. They want to blame, whether you're documented or undocumented, they want to blame brown people for all of their problems. Let's call it for what it is. That's what Make America Great Again really is. It's Make America White Again. They want to blame immigrants, whether they're legal or not. They want to blame brown people for eating their dogs and pets, for the fact that maybe they're uneducated and don't have jobs, that they're poor. And why do they feel that way? Well, some of them are bigoted and racist in nature, sure. But a lot of them will say and do whatever their cult leader, Donald Trump, says and does. What does he do? He attacks migrants, legal Haitian immigrants. He attacks legals in this country. So that's what they do, and that's their go-to. If they're not calling you a pedophile or spreading conspiracy theories or calling you a commie, which, by the way, I was called yesterday multiple times, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Well, communist is too many syllables, so they have to use the term commie in place of it.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Mark, go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
One other thing is that I'm really more worried about the Canadians coming over the border. That Doug Basham, he was just way out there, don't you think?
That's funny. That's funny, Mark. It is interesting. You don't hear from these MAGAs about white people crossing the border illegally, right? They're not worried about that. They're not worried about migrants that happen to be white. Why is it always the brown people that they seem to have a problem with? Good to hear from you, Mark, and I appreciate your call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff is next up on PTL. Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good. What's on your mind today, Jeff?
Good. Well, props to you for going out to another event and dealing with that assault. But Romeo, wherefore art thou brain, Romeo? What a moron. But I did want to get to J.D. Vance's damning non-answer and his execution of the MAGA classic of not answering a very simple and direct question by asking an unrelated question, which would all be laughable, of course, if the stakes weren't so high. So Brian, I think it's important and then in the best interests of the voting public that his stupid question get answered. I mean, he was asking about big tech censorship backed by the full force of the U.S. government. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brian or MAGA, but a private company has the right, some might say has the obligation to ferret out the truth. And the full force of the government, wasn't Trump the president?
Yes, you're 100% correct. I don't disagree with you at all. Here's the problem, Jeff, in the world we are living in, or I should say the country we are living in right now. And I love the United States of America, but I hate what Donald Trump has done to it. We've always had ignorant people among us. I've never had a problem with stupid people as long as they don't affect my life. What Donald Trump has done with some of these bigots and these ignoramuses, just dumb people, is that he's giving them a platform to spread conspiracy theories and bigotry and racism and hatred.
Yep.
And it does affect us. I never had a problem with dumb people. I mean, I've worked with some dumb people in radio, I'll be honest with you, my friend. And, I never had a problem with them until, some of these dumb people turned into Trump supporting bigots and racists. And, everyone in this country has different gifts and different challenges, right? I think that's what makes America great. We have all sorts of different people in this country. But what I can't deal with are people that are so dumb you can't even have a conversation with, like Romeo, who called in. First caller this show. Said January 6th wasn't violent. As if beating police officers with their own batons isn't violent. How could anyone have not seen that video? There are people that are in jail right now for assaulting police officers. But this person wants to bring up Black Lives Matter protest. Again, par for the course for these MAGA turds with no brain. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Carol. Carol is next up on PTL. Hi, Carol.
Hey, Brian. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
A little bit better than yesterday.
I'll be honest with you. I'm very tired today. I did a couple shows this morning. I had to wake up at like 6 in the morning. So I'm a little tired today, but I'm not as cranky as I thought I would be because of nice people like you calling into this show. So thank you.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, the fact that they were so intimidated by you shows that you have some power there.
Well,
you have influence.
That's one way of looking at it.
And they're worried about.
Yeah.
They're worried about that.
It's interesting.
And they're worried about the message that you're getting across to them.
I'll tell you this. You make a very good point because the organizer of the event, who has not texted me back, by the way, the organizer of the event and a couple of the other organizers tried to get these people away from me. They tried. Mm-hmm. They weren't very successful, but they tried. They knew my name. They were a few of them were calling my name out. They absolutely knew who I was because these were Vegas people too. And I think you're onto something there. They see me as a threat because I call out their bigotry and their nonsense. I mean, some of these people wouldn't engage me. They would call me a commie, like the guy who, I don't know if you saw the video of the guy who put his Trump flag in my face. I don't know if you saw that one.
That's awful.
Yeah.
There's no place for that.
Yeah.
And, we can have differences of opinions, but why do you have to do that? But anyway, I'm just saying, like, with your power, you have something you can do on this show, and that is, don't mention that demon's last name. Call him by his first name.
Cheeto Jesus.
That gets under his skin like you have no idea.
Cheeto
he
Jesus.
Wants that. I'm sorry?
Cheeto Jesus or Orange Turd. Let's go by those two names.
Right. But I mean, if you use the last name Trump, you're branding him and you get that name out there. And he doesn't care whether you're talking. He doesn't care if you're saying bad things or good things. He just wants you to say his name.
How about, let me ask you a question. How about if I called him Grand Wizard Trump? Because his father was probably called that. His father was arrested at a Klan rally.
He doesn't deserve the word grand.
Well, you're right. But Grand Wizard is certainly not a compliment. But yeah, I understand, Carol, where you're going with that. And I'm going to, just because of what you just said, I'm not going to use his last name. I'm going to do my best to just call him Donnie or Cheeto Jesus the rest of the show, just because of you, Carol, because I like you. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Bev. Bev is next on PTL. What's up, Bev?
Okay, first of all, I want to say a lot of people are not going to like me because I'm a Canadian calling in.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Well, because a lot of Americans say, mind your own business. It isn't your election.
Guess what? Not me. You say whatever you want. Anybody from you can be in a cave in Afghanistan and call into the show for all I care. And I love Canadians. They're friendly people. They're nice people. And they love hockey, and I love hockey. So we have a lot in common right then and there to start.
Okay, yeah, go hockey.
That's right. Go ahead, Bev. Go ahead.
Okay, I did originally had 2 things to talk about, but now I have 3 because of MAGA Mark that called in a few callers ago.
Yeah.
He said he's worried about the Canadians coming over the border.
Well, that was a joke,
Like,
obviously. That was a joke.
Oh,
he wasn't.
It was?
Yeah, he wasn't being serious. That was a joke.
Okay, because I was going to say, we are by far not all white.
Of course. No, Mark was joking, obviously, and I think I would like to think most people on the left love Canadians, love Canada, and there's people on the right that do as well. But I love you guys. I've been to Canada multiple times in my life. Wonderful people. I'll tell you what, the healthcare seems to be working over there too pretty well. You guys have a pretty good system over there, much better than what we got.
In some provinces.
Yeah, but
it's different in each province. But
what do you guys think about? What do you guys think about Donnie? I'm not allowed to say his last name. I promised Carol.
The orange turd.
Yeah, orange turd. There you go. I love it.
Personally,
yeah,
that's 2 things I was going to mention about.
Sure.
January 6th, I was at home and I was watching that live on TV. And as the hordes of people were climbing the Capitol building, like they were on the walls like ivy.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband happened to come home from work in the afternoon to get something he needed. And he looks at the TV and he goes, "What you watching?" And I said, "Orange turds, assholes, attacking the Capitol."
Right.
And he said, "Holy fuck." Oh, sorry. I don't know if I can say that.
That's
there.
okay. You
Sorry.
almost completed the word, but you didn't, so that's okay.
Okay. Holy, I thought you were watching a movie.
Yeah, it almost seemed. Didn't it almost seem like a movie, by the way? Thank you for calling in from Canada, by the way. I love the fact that this show reaches so many people, including Canadians, eh? I love the accent. Thank you so much for calling in, and you are welcome to call back anytime. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Eddie. Eddie is next up on PTL. Hello, Eddie.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Sure. So you're laughing, which leads me to believe, Eddie, that you're not a serious caller. I'm hoping that you'll stay on the line and you'll be able to have a civil and prove to me that you're a semi-intelligent human being. But I'm going to answer your question, even though this is an attempt at a prank call. And I'm hoping that you might change your mind because I'm going to keep you on the line. And I'm hoping that you might be able to have a somewhat civil and semi-intelligent conversation. I don't think you can, but prove me wrong. Am I better than I am 4 years ago? Yes. When Donald Trump left office, we were all locked up in our homes. Everybody, for the most part, losing jobs. People were struggling. They were losing their businesses, and we were losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day from COVID. So to answer your question, yes, we are much better now than we were 4 years ago. The unemployment, by the way, is lower now than it was before COVID struck. So I know that you called in just based on your Tucker Carlson laugh there at the end of your question. I know that you called in to try to prank me, but can you prove to my listeners, Eddie, if that's your name, that you have an IQ over 20 and you're capable of having a civil now, maybe I'll ask you a question. Let's see if you're smart enough to have a conversation. I don't think you are. Maybe you can prove me wrong for the first time on this show. I don't know. Do you think you were better off 4 years ago than today? I'll ask you your own question. Go ahead, Eddie. I'll give you the opportunity.
Well, I come from a middle-class family.
Why are you laughing? Why you sound like the Joker? Can we have a normal...
I come from a middle-class family,
Eddie, I don't care what family you come from, middle class, rich or poor. I answered your question honestly, respectfully. Now I'm asking you, when we were losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day from COVID, when we had the highest unemployment in decades and decades, highest in our lifetime, we were locked up in our homes. You think we were better off 4 years ago than we were today? Can you please answer that question without the Joker laugh? Can you do that, sir? Or are you not capable of having a semi-intelligent conversation?
Your whole segment is about J.D. Vance not
My whole
answering
segment was not about J.D. Vance. I did the first segment for 10 or 15 minutes talking about the event that I went to yesterday. Then I talked about Barack Obama and what Obama said yesterday. And then I did about 3 or 4 minutes talking about J.D. Vance. Now, you're not going to waste my entire segment with your stupidity. You asked me a question. I answered it. And then I asked you the question, and all I heard was a weird Tucker Carlson laugh, and you said you're from a middle-class family. Hey, dummy. Answer the question. Tell me why you think you were better off 4 years ago than today when we were locked up in our homes and we were losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day from COVID. Answer the question, the Joker. Answer the question.
3 to 5,000 people.
Do
a
I
day.
have a
Did more
stutter?
people die
Hey,
under
sir,
Biden?
do I have a stutter? That's
No, you're a dumb.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Ad hominem attacks. Thank you so much, sir. Have a nice day. Hey, dope. The reason why we lost more people under Biden is the economy and where it was left off for Joe Biden. That's what he left Joe Biden, the heart of the pandemic. And I notice also how you couldn't answer the question as to why you were better off 4 years ago today. All we heard was your feminine, weird Tucker Carlson laugh. And you laughed as if somehow it's funny that you're from a middle-class family. I don't even know what that has to do with it. But you proved my point. You're obviously not smart enough to have a civil conversation. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy is next up on PTL. What's going on, Jimmy?
Hey, what's going on, Brian? Bro, I think I just missed you yesterday. I was in the same spot yesterday, but I did something more to antagonize these folks, and I'll be straight up honest. But what I did, I pulled up on my bike. I got in the middle of the section, that whole entire thing. And I just started saying, man, this thing whole stinks over here. Everything is starting to smell of Russian and Chinese propaganda over here. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but the people that were there didn't seem like they were even from here. And then I saw a lot of strange faces in that building. So let's talk about that guy with the flag. So I was in the middle of that. That guy with the flag, he seems the type of guy that either he feels protected and was able to do what he did yesterday to me now. So I saw what he did to you yesterday with that flag and the pole.
My friend, can I ask you something? So I've just backtrack a little. So you were there when that man assaulted me?
No.
Okay.
I'm sharing you my story.
Okay, go ahead.
When this knucklehead,
I got you.
I saw yours on video.
Right.
I'm sharing what this knucklehead with that same that tall. He's about my height.
Right.
He basically got in my face and started yelling, "Fight, fight, fight!" So I put my phone down and I said, "So let's fight." And then he started kind of backtracking, but it was all, it was all silly stuff.
That's
so
what most of these people are.
Just please be careful.
Yeah.
And just be careful with that because some of
agree.
these idiots have a lot of behavioral health issues.
Sir,
Straight
where
up.
did that
And
happen?
I smell of Chinese and Russian propaganda, that whole thing, dude.
I agree. I'm sorry that happened to you as well, my friend. What rally did that happen to you? Did that happen in Las Vegas?
The very same group that you was in yesterday, my man. That very same guy with the black flag, my man.
Oh, so do you think they're getting paid? Because I saw an organizer of that group.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's like you see the same type of faces in New York. You see the same type of faces in Phoenix.
Right.
You see the same type of faces in Florida, man.
Right. I think they're getting paid. They're getting paid to show up and wave around their stupid flags and their MAGA signs. How pathetic is that, right? How pathetic.
And I wanted to meet you yesterday and kind of share this with you too, because I've got some of it. I got it on video too.
Well, maybe we can mix and match. I'd like you to email me, my friend, and let's talk. Okay.
Will do.
I appreciate you calling in and sharing your story, and I'm sorry that
Every
happened
time,
to you.
brother.
Thank you, sir. I
love the
appreciate
energy.
you.
Keep it
Thank
up.
you. Love you too, brother. Thank you so much. Well, there's a guy that was. It seemed like verbally attacked by the same person that attacked me yesterday. These people are getting paid somehow by this Trump group. And then this lady who gave me her number, who is the head of the group, has not returned my text messages. I offered her the opportunity to come on the show today, by the way, to see if she could defend some of the behavior of those in her group. She has not since gotten back to me. Shocker. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. And who do we got next here? We got Stan. Stan is next up on PTL. What's up, Stan?
How you doing, Brian?
Hey, good. What's on your mind today?
I've got an ask for you, and this is on the heels of Barack Obama talking about how Trump has denigrated black men, and they say that there's an issue with black men wanting to get out the vote for Kamala. Would you, since you're in the media, would you be willing to spearhead another call for black men for Kamala.
Well, sure.
Since you have connections.
Yeah, so let me say this. Can I ask you a question? And I'll answer your question. It's a very good question. But, you know, Barack Obama said yesterday it was unacceptable, basically, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, for African Americans to be supporting Donnie, Cheeto Jesus. What are your thoughts on that? Because Barack Obama kind of said that yesterday. What are your thoughts on that? Because that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely correct. This man denigrates. He's a racist. And why should anyone that is, and I hate to say this, that is a black man support this guy?
Well, I agree.
And not
I
a
agree.
black woman.
I'll even go a step further.
And
I agree, by the way, with what you just said. I'll go a step further. If you're a woman, I don't care what the color of your skin is, how can you support a man with the way he's treated women his entire life, a liable sexual abuser, so on and so forth? If you're a veteran, he calls you suckers and losers. I don't respect him because he was captured. On and on again, denigrating our brave men and women. If you're a veteran, how do you support this guy? I don't understand it, my friend. I don't understand it.
So that's why I'm asking, could we coalesce with each other, or could we?
Absolutely, my friend. Hit me up on social media. I have my email out there. The easy ways of contacting me, and maybe we can work something out. I'm happy to talk to you about that. Okay, my friend?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Appreciate you calling in. I'm happy to do whatever it takes to make sure that Donnie doesn't get back into the White House. I'm working really hard not to say his last name today. I'm trying to do Carol the favor. It's really hard. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jack. Jack is next on PTL. What's up, Jack?
Hey, Brian, man, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
I watched your hits yesterday, and I mean, geez, it's just like the call-in candidates that call and say it. That no one can give you a straight answer on anything, and anytime you make a point, it's like, no, that's made up. You know, it's
right.
You know, that's all lies. And I love the lady that, you know, she thought she won the argument by saying you were vaccinated. Like
Right.
these people, it's just a pack of.
By the way,
morons.
you know who else is vaccinated? Donald Trump. They're so stupid. They don't even know that.
I mean, they don't know, right? They don't know these things.
Right.
It's just, I think if they talk to each other, they would realize how nuts they are. But maybe not. But that's not why I called in. The last time we talked, it was probably like last week, and the things we were talking about were, you know, Kamala needing a little more exposure, and you know, we were talking about she was going to be on the 60 Minutes thing and the Howard Stern show and all that. And I agree. You know, we agreed with that. You know, that's what she needed to be doing. The thing is, if you remember back when she got the nomination, and you know, the right was all up in arms because right after the convention, she went on like a swing state tour, and she wasn't, you know, making herself available that much to the media.
Yeah.
Like, she's not doing interviews. This is their playbook. Like,
now she's doing too many. She's doing too many interviews, right?
Now she's doing too many.
Now she's reading.
It's red meat to them. Like,
now she's reading teleprompters at town halls, which, by the way, was debunked, a complete lie.
And she's cracking beers open. Like, this is what they want. That's
they say
why they want her to do this.
They say she's an alcoholic. They called her an alcoholic for having one sip of beer on Colbert. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Right, because he was giving her a beer to show like some solidarity, like, you know, because the beer was from that swing state.
Right.
You know, like, it's just, but that's that's what I mean. Never mind the why. They want the soundbite. They want the little clip to go along with something. They just want something. That's why Fox was so pissed off that they didn't have like her on an interview and to, you know, chop it up and to talk about it and to, you know, to go with somebody's conspiracy, you know, and all. And it's the reason why Trump is not doing 60 Minutes. It's the reason why Trump is not doing the debates. They know he doesn't have answers to the top 5 questions that they want to ask him. He's in hiding. Like,
he has concepts of answers. That's what he has.
Right. He'll do these rallies, but he's not answering any questions in the rallies. Like, he's just up there spouting this normal, you know, whatever he wants to talk about, but it's their playbook. And as far as Trump, I know you know enough about him to know Roy Cohn, and it's his playbook. It's never admit defeat and always obfuscate towards something else when you're asked a question. It's right. Bled into their cult now. So that when you ask somebody a question, it's the same thing asking Trump a question. Like he's not going to answer the question.
You are so right on that. But here's the difference, right? Donald Trump, in my personal opinion, could give more honest answers. He chooses not to because it could hurt his candidacy. Many of his supporters are so ill-informed and ignorant, they're not even capable of answering. Now, in some instances, Donald Trump is incapable of answering some questions as well. In other instances, he lies, makes things up, blames everything on the border, won't answer a direct question. Even J.D. Vance, when he's asked who won the 2020 election, he talks about the border. Ridiculous. Thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Corbin. Corbin is next up on PTL. What's up, Corbin?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Hi, so I called into the show about a week ago, and I came into the show with a pretty open mind. I was open having my mind changed because a part of me didn't want to vote for Trump because I don't like his rhetoric or him as a person. I think he's way too divisive.
Mm-hmm.
But I just had a really hard time justifying voting for Kamala Harris when there are so many more policies that I disagree with her on. But I just can't discount the fact that Trump brings out the worst in us.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with most of Kamala Harris's policies, but I think this election is more than just policy disagreements.
Right.
I don't think she's a phenomenal politician by any means, but I can't believe I'm going to be saying this, but I will be voting for Kamala Harris.
Wow. Well, first of all, sir, let me say this. I remember you. You called into this show last week and you said you were going to be voting for Trump. We had a very civil conversation, right? I think you would agree, right? We had a very civil back and forth conversation, and I complimented you last week for having an open mind. Because if you recall the end of our call, I said, you said you were going to do some research and you said you would get back to me. And I appreciate you for, number one, calling back in, and number two, listening, and number three, having the guts, for lack of a better term, to say to yourself, listen, I don't agree with all of Kamala's policies, but I'm going to vote for her. Let me tell you something, sir. You are not alone. That's why they have Republicans for Harris. Many of these Republicans that I talk to, they'll open and they'll say exactly what you just said. Listen, I don't agree with all of her policies, but I'm still going to vote for her because this election is more than just policy. And I got to tell you something. I'm proud of the fact that there are people like you out there. And if Kamala does win, while I understand you don't agree with all of her policies, I believe she's willing to work with people like you. She said it. She's willing to speak with. She even said she'd have a Republican in her cabinet, right? What was can I ask you, what was like the deciding factor? Was it his rhetoric? You said he brings out the worst in some of us, which I would agree with you on. What was like the determining factor in the last week where you said, okay, that's it. I'm going to vote for Harris?
There's a number of factors. One that really did make me think, okay, I'll vote for Kamala Harris is because I saw an interview with her on The View, and she said that she would be willing to appoint a Republican to her cabinet. So I can appreciate that she's at least making an effort to try to appeal to Republicans. Mm-hmm. I've also been thinking about what's going to happen for the down ballot elections, like for the House and the Senate, and it seems like best case scenario for Democrats is that they'll have a 50-50 seat majority. It could be a 51-2 for Republicans, depending on how things go in some other states.
Right.
And I thought that, maybe she's not really going to be able to pass a radically left-wing agenda.
Right.
I think she'll be forced to govern from the center if she gets elected.
So that's another good point.
And
yeah, that's another good point, and I tend to agree with you on that. If you don't mind me asking you this question, and I'm not trying to take full credit or anything, but I want to ask you this because this is important. If you didn't call into this show last week, do you still think you would have come to this conclusion, or did this show have a big factor into your decision?
It did have a factor in the sense that you did bring up last week how inflation is lower than it is in the G7 countries. I didn't know that. And I was led to believe that, inflation is bad and it's really bad compared to other countries around the world. But I didn't know that we're better off than all the other G7
And that's
countries.
important, right, Corbin? I mean, that's important. And I'm so glad that you looked that up, because I do my best here. I'm not always perfect, but I try to be honest, right? I try to tell the truth. And I got to be honest with you, my friend. I'm proud of you. You're not alone. There are plenty of other people that I know that are reasonable, intelligent people that are willing to have an open mind, and I applaud you for that. And I'm not necessarily trying to change people's mind. All I can do is speak facts. We all have our own opinions. I understand that. But the fact that you were willing to do that, I got to tell you, I wish there were more people in this country like you that have an open mind. Unfortunately, listen, Kamala Harris is not perfect. I would never go on the air and say no candidate is. But I do believe she's a reasonable human being. She's a decent person. And you made a really good point. She's not going to be this radical left-wing person that so many make her out to be. And what would you say, Corbin, to other Republicans out there or Trump supporters that are ashamed or embarrassed by Donald Trump's rhetoric, but they're afraid to talk about it or even not willing to have an open mind? You obviously do have an open mind. What would you say to them?
I typically vote for politicians if I think they'll improve my life. I don't know if that's a selfish thing to believe in, but
no, it's
when
not
Trump
selfish.
when Trump is saying crazier things and he has a really divisive rhetoric, it makes me wonder if he's in the best position to actually improve anyone's lives
other than his own, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Corbin, let me end by saying this, my friend. I really do appreciate you. I mean that sincerely. I appreciated your phone call last week. I knew you were a good guy. I said that a bunch of times in our call. I can hear it in your voice. You care. You care about facts. You have an open mind. And I really do appreciate that. That really means a lot that you were willing to call back and you're a man of your word. And Corbin, this is about democracy, my friend. And if Donald Trump never sees the White House again, it's going to be because of people like you. So I applaud you and thank you so much for calling in. And I'd love for you to call back. Okay?
Can I say one more thing real quick?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
I just think that we all need to stop demonizing each other on both sides and listen. We shouldn't resort to name calling. I'm worried that, we're going to lead to political violence.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do, Corbin?
I'm not saying.
You know what I'm going to do?
Yes.
I'm going to take your advice. I could also do a better job at that. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I lose my cool. And when people call me names or they just say really dumb things, sometimes I resort to ad hominem attacks as well. And because you had an open mind and you were willing to listen to me, I'm going to have an open mind and I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to remember you when somebody pisses me off. I'm going to try to not lose my cool. Okay, Corbin? And I'm going to do that because of you, because you were willing to listen to me. Sound fair?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, my friend. We can help each other. Corbin, that call means the world to me. I can't even tell you what that means to me. And I really do appreciate you calling into this show. It really, really means a lot, my friend. Thank you, Corbin, for calling in. 70222. Wow, that was pretty amazing. I wasn't expecting that. I'll be honest with you. Almost speechless there for a minute. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Jesse. Jesse is next up on PTL. What's up, Jesse?
I watched that video of you with them MAGA people at the rally, Kamala Harris's rally, and I don't see how you put up with it.
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy, Jesse, I'll tell you. I wasn't expecting that, right? I didn't think that stuff was going to happen, although I'm not surprised.
I mean, he could have hit you in the eye.
Yeah, it was a dangerous situation to be in. I wasn't expecting it. I can tell you right now that if I do it again, I'm probably going to be with a few people that are going to have my back.
Right.
At the same time, I'm very appreciative that one of my good friends was able to video it because people wouldn't believe me, right? And not only was
I heard you tell him, get the camera.
Yeah, Yeah. And my friend did such a wonderful job in a very stressful situation, and she was able to record everything and for the most part and document most of what happened. And not only that, I was able to post it on social media. So millions of people, literally, if you look at some of my videos on X and YouTube, millions of people are able to see it. And I think that's important, my friend, but I'm not going to lie to you, Jesse. That was not easy.
Well, let me just ask you this. Now, I heard the guy speak before my phone call came to you.
Yeah.
And he said we need to cut the name calling and all that down. But let me ask you this.
Sure.
Is insane name calling?
No. I think when someone
okay.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Brian.
Yeah.
Brian, there's got to be more sane people than insane in this world.
I hope so. You know why the answer is yes? The answer is yes. Because
this is getting scary. Scary.
I cannot
and
believe
something else.
You're right, Jesse. You're right. This election should not be this close. Here's what I will tell you, and hopefully this will make you feel a little bit better. And by the way, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that. Trump lost the popular vote in 2016. He lost the popular vote in 2020. He's going to lose the popular vote next month. Now, the election shouldn't be this close. We do have something called the Electoral College. But yes, Jesse, there are more reasonable people in this country than unreasonable people. And I am glad there are people like you out there, and I appreciate the call. Let's go to Patty. Patty is next up on PTL. Hey, Patty, what's going on?
Well, hi. I'm from Pittsburgh.
All right. How about those Steelers, man, huh?
Oh, please. They're terrible. I don't even want to talk about it. But you did take our hockey goalie.
Hey, I remember back in the day, Mario Lemieux, Yarmer Yager, Ron Francis. I mean, you guys had some great hockey teams back in the day. The Penguins are, Sidney Crosby. Let's not forget about him. But anyway, I digress. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind today?
Okay. I suffer terribly from deranged Donald syndrome.
Yeah, we all are. Trust me, we all are, Patty. You're not alone, my friend. You're not alone.
I was watching him introduce Musk the other day.
Yep.
When the goof was jumping up and down, and
oh, you're talking about Elon Musk? Yeah, that was cringeworthy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I need somebody to listen to that. I swear he kept calling him Eli.
He probably did. Hey, did you see what he did in Detroit yesterday? He actually said, did you see? He's speaking in Detroit and he's mocking Detroit. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the lines of, if Kamala wins, this Detroit's going to continue to be, crap. He said something along those lines.
Right.
He's speaking in Detroit. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unreal.
He's so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no control over his mouth. It's a good thing it was you and not me yesterday because I'm quick-tempered.
Yeah, I think what held me back a little bit was it could, listen, if I start screaming at them and calling them names, if I start getting in their face, then it could really escalate really fast. I tried, and I'm talking after, I tried to be civil with them. I think I called one guy an insurrectionist. I think one lady said, get out of here. And I looked at her and I said, why don't you get out of here? But, I was very sarcastic to one lady. I said, you sound like a very intelligent person, very sarcastic. But, that's the best way to deal with these people. Just be very sarcastic and tell them how educated they sound and how smart they are. And they can't stand that. And then I turned my back on one of the ladies and don't you turn your back on me. just some of the dumbest people that America has to offer. My dear, I thank you so much for calling in. No, I don't want you to get into confrontations with some of those people. It might not be healthy for you. Thank you for the call. And go Penguins. 702-221-7283. Jamel is next on PTL. Hey, Jamel, what's going on?
Hey, man, I'm a first-time caller, big fan. I just wanted to say, I want to say one thing before. Now I want to say two.
Sure.
The first thing is the guy that came on that was saying, I'm from the middle class, just to let you know, he was mocking Kamala Harris when she says, I'm from the middle class, I
knew what he was trying to do.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I knew what he was trying to do, but I tried to get an answer from him. Obviously, he couldn't give me one because that wasn't a serious caller.
And I don't understand why people mock that because she's resonating with the middle class. And I, for one, appreciate the fact that she tells us where she came from. And that's why she's pushing the policies that she's pushing. I mean, Donald Trump can talk about how he's a billionaire and everything else like that, and nobody cares.
Right.
But she says I'm from the middle class and I'm working for opportunities for the middle class. And people, I mean, it just shows you the bias in the media, and it's just infuriating.
Yeah, and why is that a bad thing? If she says she comes from the middle class or comes from the neighborhood, and she comes from a middle class family, for the most part, she was raised without a father. When they divorce, she comes from a normal, and what a wonderful family she has now with her husband and her stepkids, and even the biological mother says nothing but nice things about Kamala. But yet, we don't, why is that a bad thing? Remember, they go after Kamala, they go after AOC because she was a bartender. I mean, it's just like these attacks on decent women, and women of color, by the way. I find it very interesting, too. Women of color.
But Trump can complain that he wasn't Man of the Year or something, or he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, exactly.
It baffles me.
Yeah, wow, I always wanted to get the Purple Heart. This is easier. Yeah, hey, my
And
man, it's crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
One more, and the other thing I wanted to say, I saw that video with you out there at the rally, and I just had to call in for this reason. Man, I want you to be careful out there, please. Just please be careful. I was scared for you, man. I was scared for you. I saw the guy with his flag, but it could have been worse. These people are easily triggered when you bring them, just like you hear in your radio call.
Right.
When you present facts to them and you ask them questions, they get easily triggered. And who knows? I don't know if you have people out there with you.
Well,
I
got to tell you this, my friend. Next time I do something like that, I will definitely have people with me. I promise you that. Yes. And I appreciate your concern. And these people are crazy, my friend, but we got to keep up the fight. Yeah. You do your job and I'll do mine, brother. You keep watching, and you keep you people out there keep listening, and you keep supporting what I do. I'm going to keep doing my job. I promise you that. Okay, that's our deal.
Keep doing it, man. Because I just want to go back to civility and boring politics and a normal president. I'm just tired of the MAGA.
I hear you. Well, the MAGA movement hopefully will be over soon, my friend, when hopefully Kamala Harris becomes the first female president of all time. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you so much. Let's go to Landon. Landon is next up on PTL. What's up, Landon?
Brian, I have never been so thrilled to be on hold for 32 minutes. That was an amazing set of phone calls.
Well, thank
Seriously, bro. I love this show, man.
Thank you, Landon.
Oh, I called and Corbin, bro, you're a real American, dude. Seriously. We can have disagreements, but you're awesome, dude. Anyways, I called to talk about The Apprentice. Dude, I saw it last night. It was awesome. Oh my God. I could not physically recommend
hold on a second. 1 second here. So you watched The Apprentice yesterday. I think I sense what's coming next, and I think my producer senses what's coming next. Okay, hold on a second. I might be wrong on this phone call. It sounded like a prank phone call, but Brian is wrong from time to time. Are you talking about the movie?
Oh, yeah, the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize, and I owe you a sincere apology because I thought you were talking about Donald Trump's Apprentice. My apologies.
Oh, no.
You see, Brian's wrong. I can be wrong from time to time, and now I sound like an idiot, and that's okay. I apologize. Go right ahead.
It is possible for you to be wrong. That's a shocker.
Once in a while, it does happen.
I guess I've proved it right. Anyways, dude. In actuality, though, the movie, bro. Everything. This movie needs to be beamed into every home in America. Maybe they can use one of those lasers that they think that Democrats are controlling.
The Marjorie Taylor Greene lasers,
Yeah, dude. Oh my God! And as a Georgian, disgusting. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, I'll say this: I got to check out that movie, my friend, and I apologize for mischaracterizing you for a maggot. I apologize. I want to see the Christopher Reeve story. I might be checking that out this weekend, but I appreciate you calling in, and I will check out that movie. Thank you for the review. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Chris. Chris is next up on PTL. What's up, Chris?
Hi, Brian. My first time calling in. I've been listening to you for quite a long time.
Oh, well, thank you.
But first off, I want to commend that young man that called in and changed his mind. That was absolutely amazing.
That was cool.
It's nice to be able to talk to somebody on that side of the political aisle that actually has an open mind and will listen.
Yeah, I agree.
But I also wanted to reference, I used to live in Detroit. I don't live far from there right now. And what Trump said there was just absolutely amazing. What he actually did say is that, how Detroit is crappy, and if Harris gets in, the whole country will be just like Detroit.
And he's in Detroit. It's like he forgot where he is.
It's like, how do you think this is going to win you points?
It's not. It's not. But some of his followers don't care. They don't care.
No, I know. It blows my mind. And you can't argue with these people.
Well, I proved that yesterday, didn't I? I don't know, Chris, if you saw some of my videos from yesterday, but yeah.
No, I missed it yesterday because I had a prior engagement.
Well, you can you can go on my YouTube page at PTL Radio Show and go on my X page, and I posted all those videos there, and check them out.
Yeah, I'm pushing limits.life.
There you
I've
go.
I've actually turned several people on around where I live onto your show. So.
Wow, I mean, I've never heard a woman tell me that before. So that's, that's a wonderful thing. I'm turning people on. Wow, that's great.
There you go.
I thought it was just the insurrectionists that I turned on, but that's nice to hear. Thank you.
Well, yeah, but you turn them on in a negative way.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. I think some of them secretly have a crush on me because they talk about me every day on social media. Chris, I'm so glad that I have people like you out there. I mean that sincerely. Thank you for telling other people about this show. Without people like you, I wouldn't have the success that I'm having with this show. So, Chris, I appreciate you. And please call back again. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate you. Let's go to Dennis. Dennis is next on PTL. Hi, Dennis.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, good, my friend. What's on your mind today?
Hey, we talked about Trump coming out to Springfield and also to Aurora, Colorado.
Correct.
I don't know why you're in Vegas right now. You and I should be at his rally in Aurora, Colorado right now.
Oh, boy. I got to be honest with you, Dennis. After yesterday, I need a break. I need a break from these crazy people. I need a break. Guess who's in town today, Dennis? Guess who's in Henderson, Nevada today? None other than the orange turd. I'm not going today. I need a break.
Oh, dang it. We could have seen him and then went here in Aurora. Then we could have gone to Vegas and seen him.
Boy. Well, let me ask you, Dennis, why do you want to go? Tell me. Why do you want to be there?
Because I want to laugh at the idiots. And I just want to see the rhetoric.
Yeah, well, you're going to see a lot of that.
I said in 16, if he goes in as a businessman, a true businessman, he may do well for this country. If not, if he acts like a celebrity, this presidency is going to be nothing but a joke. Guess where he was?
Yeah.
He was a celebrity.
Of course. And it's interesting because the right wing, and by the way, Dennis, thank you for the call. I won't be at any Trump rallies anytime soon, I don't think. Maybe I'll go to one more, but it is interesting that the people on the far right say, oh, well, Kamala Harris, she's got Taylor Swift. Who cares about celebrities? These are the same idiots that look up to Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock and Dana White and Lee Greenwood and Chachi. Let's not forget about Chachi and Schneider and James Woods. Oh, my God, what a bunch of deplorable idiots. Thank you for the call, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Anna. Anna is next up on PTL. Hi, Anna.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. I'll be very gentle, I promise.
I feel compelled to share some information against an argument some of those MAGA callers tend to use a lot. I don't expect to change their mind, but it might make me feel better just to put it out there into the universe, maybe.
Sure.
They often say that Trump is a rapist.
Right.
And that women are lying.
It's nonsense. We all know.
Yeah.
We all know he's a racist bigot. We all know this is the guy that defends the Confederate flag. We all know this is a guy who's been civilly sued thousands of times because he didn't want black people living in his properties. It's not even up for discussion. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm a sexual assault survivor, and I won't go into further detail. I don't want to, but I need to emphasize the following facts. Okay, only 2 to 10% of reported sexual assault claims are false. 63% of all of them go unreported. All reports filed against a sex offender account for only 5% of their total sex offenses.
Right.
And women starting years or even decades after the crime is very common.
Of course,
and they
it is.
rarely
Yeah.
see that case go to court.
Yeah.
And they rarely see justice served because of the way they are treated. Given these absolute facts based on statistical evidence, that means Trump has sexually assaulted or raped, at minimum, 46 women.
Well, let me start by saying this. I'm so sorry. Whatever happened to you, I'm very sorry that that happened to you. I wish it never happened to anybody. You sound like a lovely, nice lady. Number two, we know of 25 to 30 women that have already come forward and said that Donald Trump sexually abused them or raped them, including his ex-wife in a court deposition. We also know he's a liable sexual abuser, the E. Jean Carroll case. So I want to ask you a question. As a victim of sexual assault, and again, I am so sorry that that happened to you, what would you say to the MAGA supporters out there that say it's not true and he's never done any of these things to women? What would you say to them?
I want to make this perfectly clear to them, okay? I have read the court filings of the women accusing Trump. They are, in all cases, save for one that deviated slightly in its language, undoubtedly true. And this election is incredibly re-traumatizing for people like me. The attempts to justify his behavior are unfathomable. And I'd like to share the following with them. People typically vote for the candidate who best reflects their values. So when I, as a rape survivor, see a Trump sign in someone's yard, I am terrified.
Yeah.
As a knee-jerk instinct, I see the person living there as a danger.
Yeah.
It makes me scared. To shut my eyes at night and to protect myself, I have to assume you're a bad person with bad intentions. At the very least, you're making a choice to let an offender do as he pleases to other women. And why on earth would anyone want to be seen that way as a bad person? And I'm not saying this to demonize or hurt people's feelings.
But you're right. You're right. How does a woman look in the mirror and say, I'm voting for the sexual abusing, liable rapist? How does a husband look in the mirror and look at his wife and say, I'm supporting the man who's been accused of rape dozens of times? How do they do it, Anna? I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but I'll tell you this. You know, there are people like you out there that could make a big difference in this election in November. So let's remember that. And I reemphasize again, I'm so sorry what happened to you, but your voice is very, very, very important. We all need to listen to people like you. It's very important.
Well, thank you. And I hope reframing it, if anybody out there is listening, maybe it gives them some context. Maybe they never thought of that before.
Right. You know what I hate, Anna? When people say, oh, well, why did it take this long for this person to come forward? I mean, look at Bill Cosby. Look at all these cases. And they say because a woman didn't come forward right away, somehow that means it didn't happen. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's extremely common. I never reported.
Right.
And it's my effort to control what happens next.
Right.
I mean, Harris is 100% accurate about that.
Right.
I needed in that moment to control what happened next to me.
Yeah.
And these are up against a very powerful man, and he had resources to silence them, and that makes us even more
Well, make
scared.
no mistake about it. When he said grab women by the private parts, when people try to tell you who they are, believe them. Anna, I got to run, but I want to tell you, you're a very brave woman for calling into this show, and we need more voices like you. I'm so sorry about your history with this, but I am so proud of you for sharing your story and for hopefully enlightening others. And I really do appreciate you, Anna. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Appreciate you. Wow. What a touching call that was. And I really feel for her, but at the same time, she always will have a voice on this show. All of you will always have a voice on this show. And I'm so sorry that she was a victim of this. And who knows how many victims are out there when it comes to Cheeto Jesus. Let's go to Dennis. Dennis is next up on PTL. What's up, Dennis?
Hey, Brian. Dennis again. I have to tell you one thing. Thank you. I have a friend from Pahrump. We came out to watch the Raiders game. We started talking politics. He did not know who he was voting for. I let him listen to your show once. And at that time, he made up his mind. He's voting for Harris.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, that's really, really cool. Did he say why? It was from watching the show, or?
Listening to what you had to say.
Well, isn't that interesting? And he lives in Pahrump, Nevada, you're saying, sir?
Yes.
Well, please tell him, thank you for listening. Thank you
He's
for
listening upstairs while I'm down on the phone talking to you.
Well, that's interesting. Well, please tell him to call into the show next week. I'd love to hear from him. Tell him I appreciate him having an open mind. That means a lot to me. And that would be the second person that has told me that today, and that means a lot to me. So tell him I said thank you.
Sure thing. You already told him. I'm sure he's listening now.
Well, good. Well, Dennis, thank you for sharing that story. It means a lot. I appreciate it. How about that? People listening to this show and maybe changing their minds. That's pretty cool. That's not my intention, I'll be honest with you. Like when I come on the air, I'm always going to be honest with you. I'm always going to speak my mind. People are going to agree. People are going to disagree. You form your own opinions. It's not my objective to come on this show and change everybody's minds. It's my objective to call it as I see it. That's what I try to do. Let's go to Carol. Carol's next on PTL. What's up, Carol?
Hi, I am so excited to get through to you.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
It's amazing.
Thank you, Carol.
I mean, I'm blown away. And I want to say I want you to keep up the good word. I'm not really political, but if I had to vote for a dog, I would rather than vote for Donnie.
As long as it's a dog that wasn't eaten by a Haitian immigrant, because that's what the Republicans are saying, right? They're all being eaten by Haitian legal immigrants.
I think I'm just blown away by all the people that have drank the Kool-Aid. I can't believe it.
Well, at least I'm getting through to a couple of them, right? It's better than nothing,
you
right?
You got me. I love listening to you. You're great.
Thank you.
Keep up the good word.
Well, that's very sweet of you to say, and I appreciate you calling in. That means a lot to me. Thank you, my dear. Who are we going to do next here? Let's go to Lori. Lori is next up on PTL. Hi, Lori.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, good, Lori. What's on your mind today?
Well, I'm calling from South Carolina. I watch your show, and I don't hear nobody call from South Carolina.
I get a lot of
I
get a lot of North Carolina, but I haven't had a lot of South Carolina calls.
Well, we're in the red blood state. We're scared to walk around with our Harrison Walls bracelet. I'm married to a woman, and we're scared that we're not going to get treated like we should if they know we're pulling for Harris.
That gets me so angry to hear that. It gets me so angry to hear what you are saying. That's not the country I want to live in, Lori.
Me either.
Yeah.
And I have loved listening to Harris. She's got us excited. I'm like you. It baffles my mind about these Trump. My dad's a Trump supporter.
Oh no.
He owned a shop and went out and bought all kind of Trump stuff and got all into it like everybody else. And me and him cannot talk politics. Period.
Wow.
But we love Harris. I stumbled across your show on YouTube about a month ago. I said he believes everything I do. I'm sitting here watching you.
Well, that means a lot. I'm glad you stumbled upon it.
But it makes us angry too because we can't show our support.
Well, hey, listen. If you can take a little time out of your day to listen to this show and to feel a little bit better and know that there are other people out there like you, and it's not just me. Listen to the other educated, informed callers like you that call into this show every day. There's a lot of people like you and me. Yeah, we sprinkle in a few idiots that call into this show from time to time. That's okay. But there's a lot of people all over the country, even from Canada today, that are calling into this show. You are not alone.
Right.
I feel you. Let's hope we get the result that we all want in November. If not, it's going to be difficult.
Yes.
If we get the result we want, we're going to be partying it up. How's that sound?
Right.
All right.
My wife has one question for you.
Sure.
Can you explain about the voting that's going on with Georgia, the rules they're trying to change?
Yeah, so let's be honest. The rules they are and I'm not extremely familiar. I heard a story about this, that they're trying to make it a little bit easier so that, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they don't get the result they want, they could actually go back and in my opinion, make it seem like a fake electorate scheme. That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, I could be wrong. Right? Is that what they're kind of trying to do over there? Some of these MAGA Republicans?
I was saying.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. You know why I say that? There's going to be too many eyes. I think Joe Biden said it best. We're going to have a free and fair election. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
We are not going to allow people to steal. And I hate to sound like Donald Trump here, but let's be honest. The fake electorate stuff is not coming from the left. It's coming from the right. So you hang in there. You and your wife, please do your due diligence. I know you will, and vote in November. And we can't let that deter us. We are not going to have fake electorate schemes. Let's let Kamala Harris win this one fair and square, and I believe she will. Let's go to Dot. Dot is next up on PTL. Hi, Dot.
Hi, Brian. I found your show by accident, and once in a while I miss it because I don't catch the time correctly. But something that's been bothering me for a long time, ever since I first heard of Donald Trump, and he started to get into this political arena, and his support for people that have been our enemies all the way through the Cold War. Now, I'm old enough to remember, though somewhat vaguely because I was a child, but the House Un-American activities and Khrushchev banging his shoe at the UN and saying, "We will bury you," and other people who have said, "When America dies, it will be killed from within." And I'm just wondering why so many people can't see that this is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And how can we have a president who would rather believe our enemies and dictators than our own federal security organizations?
Well, I'll take it a step further. Dot, I'll even take it a step further. How could we have somebody, the leader of the Republican Party, running to get to be the leader of the free world again, who is a 34-count felon? How is that possible? All right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to be joined by a lovely lady by the name of Nicole Mitchell. She does this show every week, actually twice this week because we missed her on Friday. She is a former pastor, now OnlyFans model and life coach. And we're going to end the week on a positive note. I know we have a lot of other people on hold. I tried to get to as many calls as I could, and we got to a lot of them in the last 90 minutes or so. That's why I say it's the most interactive show in the country. But we're going to take a breath. We're going to take a quick break. And then the beautiful and talented Nicole Mitchell is going to be joining us next to close out the week. We'll be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
In these uncertain times, we need a leader who puts policy over politics.
I'm Ron Quince. I am beyond the bickering and what we see today. I am running to fight for your values, faith, family, and freedom.
Ron Quince stands for safe borders, lower taxes, and lower prices.
Let's take our country back, one community, one vote at a time. I am Ron Quince, and I'm asking for your vote because every vote matters. I am Ron Quince, and I approve this message.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey accumulates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com and get started.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. I always love closing out the show on a positive note. Before we get to Nicole Mitchell, please check out my good friends at Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. They have the Pass the Puck contest. I believe there's a Vegas Golden Knights game tonight. I believe the Blues are in town. So they have some great promotions if you're playing the slot machines. Also earn 350 points on a Sunday from noon to 8 a.m., and you get $50 in free slot play. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Joining us right now, you may have seen her. She's made multiple appearances on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. She has been on Are You Kidding Me? That would be Dr. Phil. Her name is Nicole Mitchell, joining us right now on the show. Nicole, thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Hi, happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday. We made it through the week. I did barely, but it's great to see you. Looking great as always.
Thank you.
I love ending the week shows on a positive note. We missed you last week. That was my fault. But I'm reading about this story that I wanted to hear you talk about, and it has to do with a lung transplant and a woman who found love with the donor's brother. I mean, this is not only are you saving somebody's life, but you're finding love with a family member of someone that saved your life. Tell me a little bit about the story. It's such a cool story.
Such a cool story. I couldn't believe it. So like this woman was born with a very rare condition that eventually forced her health to get so bad that she had to get on the transplant wait list. And she finally got the news and she was so excited, but she also knew it meant sad news for another family because someone, some child or sibling of theirs passed away. So it was a young woman who passed away and her lungs were given to this woman. And she got the lungs, and as she was healing, she got well enough to where she went to go meet the family of the young woman who gave her lungs to thank them. And the young woman's brother was there, and this survivor saw him thinking, gosh, he's really cute, but never thought anything more than that because that wasn't the point. But they stayed in touch, they fell in love, and they just got married in the past year. And so she says, not only did his sister save my life, she introduced me to the love of my life.
Oh my gosh, how cool is that?
Yeah.
That is I'm speechless. That's such a cool story. And I'm sure maybe there are other stories like that out there, but I've never heard one like that before. I mean, you hear about these transplants, and you've also heard stories of people, sadly, who lose their life, but they're donors and they save other lives in the process. Yeah. But this is something else, getting your life saved with a lung transplant and then meeting the brother of the person who already saved your life and finding love. I mean, boy, that brings new meaning to the term close-knit family, right?
And how cool for this man that he found the love of his life and he's still permanently connected to his sister because her lungs are in his wife. It's just like, it is so trippy, but so amazing.
It brings new meaning right to the term, without you, I can't breathe. So that's pretty awesome, man. Now, there's some songs written about that. That's super cool. Okay, here's another family story, a good, wholesome family story. So we got these twin brothers that were born conjoined, and they have just celebrated their first birthday after this separation surgery. And I know every one of these surgeries is very different, but my understanding, some of them are extremely dangerous. Tell me about this. It sounds like they're doing good.
Yeah, so they found out when she was pregnant that they were conjoined, and the recommendation at the time was termination because of that. A lot of them don't make it. A lot of them, they're not able to be separated, and even on the chances when they can be separated, sometimes complications can happen and they can pass away. They got a second opinion. The second opinion said, we think we can actually separate them when they are safely of age. So they decided to give birth. And then around 8 months old, they did tons of x-rays and tests because the doctors say it's more complicated than it appears. And it's really not until they cut into them that they can find for sure where the fusion begins, where the fusion ends. And thankfully for these two little boys, they had their own hearts. They had their own separate everything. It was just their chest, their sternum, and their stomachs that were connected. They were able to successfully disconnect them after 8 hours of surgery with dozens of experts in the room. Wow. They just celebrated their first year. And it's just one of those best case scenarios that make you feel so good.
Wow, that is such a cool story. That's got to be really tough for the family, having to sit through a surgery like that, hoping that both of them make it. Not only do they make it, but they're doing great. And that I'm so happy to hear that. Since we like to end the week on a positive note, I figured I'll share this news with you. This is pretty cool. We reached a milestone with this show. Not only do I have over 5 million views on YouTube, and over 40,000 subscribers, and it's growing by the day, we had over 22,000 people watching the show live today. And my producer took a picture of that number, and I'm going to post it on social media. That is a very large number. Now, I'm averaging around 200,000 people that watch the show in a 24-hour period, right? But that's the podcast, which, by the way, is a great number. But 22, give you an idea of how many people that is. And not that I watch Alex Jones, because I can't stand that guy, but he has a couple thousand people, listen, I would never tell anyone to watch that show, but that's another story. But yeah, 22,000 people watching the show live today on average. So that's a pretty cool. I don't know if that's as many OnlyFans members that you have from your account, but that's a pretty cool.
That's huge. What I want to say to you, Brian, too, because I've now known you for a little over a year, probably about 15 months now, 16 months. And I remember when we first met, this was a goal of yours.
Yeah.
Your goal was to blow up your social media. Your goal was to get a ton of new subscribers. Your goal was to stretch and your impact. And I just want to say, I saw you then. I saw you declare it. Here you freaking are. You freaking did it. And I hope you do something to celebrate this massive, massive accomplishment, because there's a lot of people who want something, but you freaking made it happen. So
you're going to get me choked up, man. You're going to get me
big
choked up.
deal, Brian. And so this is good news. And the next time I come to Vegas, we should definitely go out and celebrate you, because this is a massive milestone.
I would love to do that. I'd love to celebrate with you. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, a couple months, several months, I've been working 15-hour days. Luckily I have a great team around me now. I have some great help, but, for several years, I've been doing this show independently owned, and it's nice to see that those dividends are paying off, and it's great to be at this station, and I have some great people around me, which definitely helps. I can't do it alone, but yeah, I really do believe that if you really set your mind to something and you really work hard, I know it's a cliche, you really want something. If you continue to work at it, eventually you're going to get it.
100%. And what I love about this, I always tell my clients, every success story has a backstory. You became a quote unquote overnight success. Look at him blow up. But all the years you put in, all the hours you put in, all the time you still believed when it wasn't working or working the way you'd hoped. And now you're freaking here. Hats off to you.
It's really cool. Thank you. And it's mesmerizing. The listenership I have, and so many are just so wonderful people. I get all different types of people calling into the show. It doesn't matter. Different sexes, different, I believe half my listeners at least are women, which I love. Diversity, and people all over the country that feel like that they finally have a place to go to every day. And instead of this right-wing echo chamber radio, which is what I call it, they finally have a place to go to. I just had a woman who called into this show, and then she put her wife on the phone, and I love that stuff, man. I've had a couple people that called in today that were going to be voting for Donald Trump, and they said because of my show, they're voting for Kamala Harris. That is mesmerizing. Nicole, thank you for those kind words. I can't wait till you come back to Vegas so you can co-host the show with me, because I love having you on the show, and I know our listeners do as well. It's so great to see you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And look forward to talking to you next week, Nicole. Thank you for those kind words.
Congratulations again. You're amazing.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Nicole. That means a lot. Nicole Mitchell, always love having her on. She's the best. I appreciate those kind words. She's right with what she said. All right, before we go, I want to also say happy 41st birthday to my producer. He's getting old. I mean, he looks 21, but he's 41. Figured I'd give him a compliment and be nice for a change. Happy birthday to Dumpchuck. And our website, we're very proud of our website, pushingthelimits.live. And I get emails from people every day, social media and personal email. How could I get more involved in the show? We're an independently owned show. So in order to keep the lights on, we rely on people like you, right? For the success of this show. So what can you do to help? Now, step number one, check out the website, pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live. You can sign up for the free newsletter, buy merchandise, Pushing the Limits hats, shirts. I think I have a shirt that with my mug on it that says, "Don't be a right-wing buffoon." That's a good seller. If you don't want to buy merchandise, that's fine. Right on the front page, there's a button there and it says donate. Doesn't matter what it is, whatever you can afford. $5, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever you can afford, we appreciate. PushingTheLimits.live to help keep this show going. And I promise you, as long as you keep supporting what I do, I'm going to keep working my butt off every day to provide you with the best show possible. And I appreciate all of you for joining us. We will see you Monday, same time, same place. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. At PTL Radio Show on X, at PTL Radio Show on my YouTube page. I just started Instagram, the Facebook fan page. Check me out on there. I interact with just about everybody when I can. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
In these uncertain times, we need a leader who puts policy over politics.
I'm Ron Quince. I am beyond the bickering and what we see today. I am running to fight for your values, faith, family, and freedom.
Ron Quince stands for safe borders, lower taxes, and lower prices.
Let's